And there we are.
Here we are.
Gary and Brian,
I'm
the
Brian.
retired chaplain guys.
Yeah.
But
Many moons of being chaplains.
yeah, quick history. Brian is a go-getter. And once he hit a little free time in retirement,
Hmm.
Brian has really taken off with some great ideas about chaplaincy and sharing experiences and the things that we learned kind of the hard way, things that got easier over time
Yeah.
as we went through our different careers, and just talking about what we've learned and being able to share that with others using the tools that are readily available is just a great way to begin to maybe build a network of friends and colleagues, and see where our skills could be better used or best used. And that may be by sharing it with other people who take it to places we will never see, which would be just
Yeah.
wonderful. So
Yeah. That'd,
any
that'd be,
comments, Brian, openers here?
yeah, that'd be great. Through the years as a chaplain, I always appreciated other chaplains that I gleaned from going into the field.
Yeah.
I started out like a lot of chaplains do. I've got my clinical pastoral education. During residency, you had to have some part-time jobs. So I worked for a hospice part-time. I worked for Teen Challenge as a counselor part-time. And that was time to learn, to grow, to get experience. And through that process, the chaplains had been around for years before I showed up
Right.
would give me insight on what to do or what not to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that part of it? It's it's avoid the big mistakes, and then you kind of feel your way into those healthy things that eventually become natural. But boy, starting out, that matters.
Yeah, yeah. We had a saying in CPE is don't just do something, stand there. So if you don't know what to do, just be a non-anxious presence, ministry of presence, and you'll get through it.
Right. And that isn't just us. Don't they tell the doctors do no harm? At
Yeah,
least
do
don't
no
make it
harm.
worse, right?
Yeah. Yeah, don't make it any worse than you need to make it. But in chaplaincy, it requires the ability to walk into a situation and see a lot of the things that I could do that the people in the medical profession are doing other things.
Right.
If it's
Yes.
in the emergency room, the doctor, the nurses, respiratory, they're all doing medical things.
Right.
So in a crisis, as a chaplain, the chaplain's there to open up the consult room, call the family. Uh,
Right.
done lots of calls to the family.
Mm.
Call the nursing home if they come from a long-term facility to find out, is there somebody on the emergency contact list other than the nursing home that we can call?
Yeah.
And so chaplains are available to fill in all the little niches and the unseen things that if they're not being done, everybody will see them.
Yeah. And
Like, why didn't you call me 3 hours ago?
those little things that everyone else is not thinking about, they make the difference between good care or excellent care.
Yeah, yeah.
And smoothing out that
Uh-huh.
tension and the challenges of the adrenaline rush and all that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got any war stories about that? You got an example you can give us, or just a
Well,
generalized principle? Keep going.
well, we call it actually, of course, it's continuity of care.
Okay.
How it all the pieces come together. And there's no book on how to do that. There's no user manual like, well, I'm going to work with this doctor, this set of nurses. People are always changing, new staff, people on vacation, float nurses filling in.
Right.
And so relationships would be the first thing of telling a story. Every chaplain needs to build those relationships with everybody. Housekeeping, volunteers, of course, radiology, respiratory, nurses, med techs, nurse case managers when it comes to patients being discharged. That
Sure.
nurse case
Sure.
manager and the chaplain work very closely together to help deal with how would you like to end up in the hospital and you're told you're never going to get to go home again?
Hmm. That's devastating news. Well,
Yeah,
and for the family too.
yeah, yeah. So
Wow.
it's like the loved one's like, I don't want to live in a facility. And it's like, well, there's no one that can take care of you home. Then
Uh,
the family's like, well, I can't take care of them because of my age and my health issues.
I bet
And
that's
so,
common. Hmm.
yeah, so the chaplain is the one that a lot of times just is in the room when the story, well, we call them consults.
Consult.
There's
Okay.
end of life consults. There's continuity of care consults. Uh, there's just like we need some a chaplain in the room just to keep that non-medical person in the room to be a support for the family
Yeah.
because families and patients a lot of times sees the medical people and chaplains aren't there with a needle or a pill.
Mm.
We're not there with,
Yeah.
sheets to change the bed to make you get up and put on clean sheets. We're not there to empty the trash. So we are a non-threatening, non, a non, just a non-medical person.
Yeah. Yeah. Normal person in an abnormal environment would,
Yeah, a normal person.
yeah.
And of course, in the hospital setting, I've said this a lot of times. I've been on mission trips. I've been to other countries, and in our conversations, I know you have in the Army. And so I've been to the Ukraine. When those doors opened up in 2002, I didn't know planet Earth could look like it looked because I'd always been in America. So the healthcare realm is like going on a foreign mission trip, entering into a area that nobody has an understanding of what's going on. Why are they telling me this? Why are they telling me to not do this? Uh, Families, I tell this all the time. When your loved one's there in the hospital, don't do anything unless you ask the nurse. Don't bring them in a donut and they ate the donut and you found out they were having surgery that morning and now
Oh,
the surgery just was canceled.
oh, whoops.
Whoops. So there's a chaplain story that every nurse and doctor is walking away scratching their head saying, why did they bring them something to eat? We got food here. Well,
Right.
mom liked Sonic burgers or,
But you're the family member. You know what they like. You
yeah,
don't ask permission to go get a donut for someone you love. Why?
yeah,
Why in the hospital am I now having to ask somebody? But look at the
yeah.
consequence. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big consequence, and and so and you'd think that would be taken for granted. The question of, "Hey, nurse, can mom have some coffee?" No, she's on a clear liquid diet. Coffee, that's a
Oh,
maybe, maybe not. Depends. Cream, sugar, no. Maybe dark, maybe just regular coffee, possible, but it's always a question to ask because on the door, a lot of times they'll say, no free water. And so I'll tell the nurse, what are we doing? Charging them for water now? And
bring
the
your own
nurse,
bottle.
and the nurse is like, Bryant Chaplain, we know you know what that means. So, so
No free water, which means
yeah.
they can't drink it whenever they want to, right?
Yeah, because they've got fluid retention.
Oh, and that would
So
make it
yeah,
worse. Yeah. We're trying to get the person better and inadvertently making it worse.
they come in with a 2 gallon, insulated igloo cup with mom for with a big Mountain Dew. And they're like, what
Oh,
are you doing?
well, it makes sense in a normal environment,
Yeah,
but I think I don't think pastors know, let alone family members, unless you've had a lot of experience
yeah,
and
yeah,
who gently could let be an educator for the family. The chaplain's kind of that safe person that says, you may not want to do that, or why don't we check with
yeah.
the nurse's
Uh,
station? Wow. I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
of a pastor or a student that might watch this and go, well, sure, I'll go visit so and so in the hospital, and we sit on the bed or we step on the oxygen tube or something.
Uh-oh. That's a story
Oops.
I don't want to share about, but I was forced once to be in a little travel trailer with a couple, and they were on hospice, and there was nowhere to sit. She says, sit right here. And as I did, her mask went off to the side of her face. And the nurse was in there saying, Brian, get off her oxygen tube. So I'm
Stand
like,
up.
well, I didn't want to say, well, she is on hospice, but we're not really trying to hurry the process. So
No, no,
get
no,
back
don't
on
do it.
her face.
Oh
So
my.
things happen. Things happen.
Sure. Well, and stuff is going to happen anyway, but a little thinking in advance could
Yeah.
minimize those kinds of things and make everybody's ministry a little better
Yeah.
and raise our reputation with the medical staff too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Because they're watching.
yeah.
Medical staff,
Hmm.
either the chaplain will be their best ally and help, or either they will see the chaplain come down the hall and say, I sure wish he wasn't on shift today.
Ooh,
That
that's
that
not
that
good.
that that conversation goes on
Yeah.
because those nurses, when I would go into a geriatric ward, a lot
Hmm.
of those folks are on medication. They've got sundowners. They're not sleeping. I
Right.
go right to the nurse's station and they'll say, you can visit so and so and so and so. But if you wake up the person in room number 5, you're going to be in trouble. We just got her put to bed and she's sleeping.
Ah,
I'm like,
so
yes, ma'am.
you bet that's good advice to follow. And yeah, they work with somebody all night or maybe through shift change. There's been this horror story, and we
Yeah,
walk in with good intentions,
yeah,
but inadvertently do the dumbest things, and then
yeah,
we get a black eye for it and don't know why. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah, so
huge.
so the medical staff, they love a chaplain that will step in. Like
Okay.
in the middle of COVID, uh, families could see their loved one at a certain point, but they had to sign a release form.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'd be in ICU with 5 people in as a 5-bed ICU. So when the family came in, I helped gown them up, get their mask on, sign the form. The nurses hanging IV bags everywhere. And I would have them sign the form, peel the patient sticker off that goes in the chart because that's scanned into the chart.
Right.
Because if there's a lawsuit that someone sues us for getting COVID, they knew in advance what the risks were. So
Wow.
the nurses would say, oh, Brian, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm really busy. Thank you for doing that. And
Wow.
I'm like, no problem. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, but let me just insert a word of caution. A pastor visiting shouldn't just go in and do anything legal. you had the rapport, you had the reputation, you had the position,
Yeah, yeah,
which in time brought you that trust. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Well, and I was staff.
Right.
I
Yeah, you
mean,
were on board.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I have the right to sign. Now we would do advanced directives, power of attorney,
Okay.
living wills, do not resuscitate orders. And that actually was the chaplain's job at my last role. So
Got it.
we were the ones that we went in, talked to the family. And then here's a thing that happened quite often. Family would sign the witness forms. And we're
Okay.
like, no, that won't hold up. You can't tell mom's wishes in advance and you witness it because you might be
Oh,
the one collecting the life insurance. So
right.
we need to make sure mom's oriented, dad's oriented. We'll help with the paperwork. We will have a social worker, a nurse, an aide, a chaplain to
Right.
sign it, give them back the originals, and then
Yeah.
we scan it into the patient's chart.
Gotcha. No, you
Because
got to be careful about that because not every family's a happy family, you know? So,
no,
wow.
no, and
Hey,
then the
I'm gonna
stress
I'm
of it.
gonna review what we've talked about,
Yeah,
and then I have one final question, and we'll shut down this
okay.
first fun time because
Yeah,
there's a lot more to talk about. But
there is.
I've been jotting down notes. You talked about the chaplain being able to fill in little things. You talked about the continuity of care,
Yep.
that we have a role in making all of the care work out well. You
Hmm.
talked about the importance of relationships and being there to consult. That's a great word. We're not a decider. We're an advisor or another set of eyes and ears to make the
Yeah,
bigger
yeah.
conversation.
I'll just interject there that I
Yeah,
was on the ethics committee. I was the steering committee leader on ethics because chaplains are part of the multidisciplinary team that when a situation arises, chaplains are one of the key role people, along with the doctor and the nurse and the nurse case manager. Some hospitals have social workers.
gotcha.
We're all pulled in together to decide on, is this ethical?
Yeah.
And then if we came to a place of not of question, you
Okay.
never move forward until you know that you know.
Ah,
I tell everybody I'm the smartest guy in the room because I'll use everybody's brain in the room and mine because I want to know that we're all on board. So
yeah.
when I worked for Integris, we did have a full-time ethicist,
Uh-huh.
and we could contact them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
Lots of times we would say, no, this one we've never seen before. This is unique. We
Hmm.
need some, and that's his job. He had a master's degree in being an ethicist. He was an RN. He had a master's in nursing, and
Wow.
that was his role was to help us sort out because healthcare isn't it's just not a one and done. There's not
No,
just a book, you open up the book.
you practice medicine. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's an ongoing use of professional judgment,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
wise to bring in all those professionals.
yeah.
Interesting.
And as a chaplain to know there is ethicists.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
also
another thing
glad
to
that,
know is they're going to bring you in and you're expected to have some insight.
well, that's what I was going to say is I'm glad to know the chaplain is involved in that. We ought to have some sense of right and wrong and identification with both the patient and like you said, the non-medical person in the room.
Hmm.
How does society at large look at the choices we have to make here? I'm glad
Yeah,
you're involved. That's good.
yeah,
Um, we talked about asking the nurses, Don't be afraid to get advice. It's better to do nothing than to do something wrong,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's really hard to recover from. And then kind of knowing our boundaries and our lane, formally and informally. I
Hmm.
mean, you were on staff and you had a set of expectations, but you also built up trust to where you
Yeah.
could could go beyond the minimal expectations and be a proactive
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
But
And
my last question
yeah.
before we
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
wrap this first one up,
Yeah.
we'll do this a lot. This is
Yeah.
good.
Let's do it.
Did you pray with the patient or the family regularly, often? What at what level of
Hmm.
preacherness were you expected to be as a chaplain?
Mm. That has been a question to pray or not to pray. Living in a pluralistic society, is the patient have a spiritual belief? Do they want prayer?
Yeah,
So many times, if you just didn't say anything, the patient would look at you and say, "Aren't you going to pray for me?"
yeah. There's
They were
kind of an
expecting.
expectation. Yeah.
So you would say, "Would you mind if I had a word of prayer? Would you like me
Uh,
to pray for you?"
yeah.
Please do.
Great.
Or sometimes they'd say, "No, I'm good." I'm so okay. Well, I'll just keep you in prayer and just wanted to offer that to you. They said, "Well,
Love it.
thank you, chaplain, you know." And then there's people that don't want a chaplain. When
Sure.
you knock on the door, they'll kind of give a look like, I've had some say, "Am I dying?" I'm like, I don't
Ah,
know. I'm not the doctor. Because chaplains, you being former military, every movie I see, the only job the chaplain does is announce deaths. And we
yeah,
don't do that.
yeah,
So, so they'd say, "Well, I'm good." And okay. I mean, I'm glad you're good. Just wanted to check on you.
yeah,
Call if you need anything. Oh, thank you, chaplain. So
yeah.
I always leave people out. They don't feel good. They haven't ate yet. They just had family come in and wear them out, and then I
Oh,
walk.
yeah, yeah,
So a good rule of thumb: chaplains don't need to be there, but maybe 5 to 15 minutes at the most.
yeah, yeah. We've done what we need to do, and it's a part of a much bigger process that is part of what God is using to help that person. So yeah,
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
good.
And then in closing, when we talked about the nurses, medical staff have their own set of problems in life themselves. Their car just broke down. They got a sick daughter. They're going through a divorce. So the chaplain is there for everybody: staff,
That's good.
families, patients, visitors, vendors, people come and
Vendors.
go. Yeah.
Wow.
And you learn to pick up, people walk in a hospital, you can tell when they're lost. They don't know where they're going. Can I
Yeah.
help you? Oh, I need to go to radiology. Well, right over here, step in across the hall. Here's who you need to see, because, they're already emotionally disturbed or distraught because the doctor just said, "We need to get you down there and get that CAT scan on you."
Yeah. Let's
And
do
so
that
they're
now.
already like, oh, so yeah.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. Well,
chaplains
good.
are a vital role.
You bet. You bet. Well, hey, we're gonna talk about this a lot more.
Yeah.
I think if nothing else, you and I sharing our stories a little bit and the things that we've learned from that, maybe we can bunch that together and maybe others would listen in along the way.
Yeah.
But
That'd be great.
Brian and I enjoy very much just being colleagues and friends for a long, long time.
Yeah. Long
And
time. And now we're retired and we actually get to visit.
I know it.
When we were both working, we didn't have the time.
Rather than just constantly on the move. So
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, I'm going
Okay.
to find where this button is and turn that off for now, but we will
Okay.
come back and do this again.